Welcome, thank you for being here today. Have you ever felt like there's a part of you that you keep hidden, a part you don't quite understand or maybe even dislike? This hidden part is what we explore in shadow work. Shadow work is a journey into the unlit rooms of your inner world. It's about shining a light on the aspects of yourself that you've tucked away. These might be feelings, beliefs, or traits you learned were unacceptable. We all have these hidden corners. The goal isn't to get rid of them, it's to understand them, to see them clearly. It's about making peace with your whole self, every single part. The idea of the shadow isn't new. It has deep roots in psychology. Carl Jung, a very wise psychiatrist, introduced this concept. He believed our shadow holds all the parts of ourselves we don't want to admit to. These are the aspects we might have been told were bad or wrong as children. So we push them down, deep into our unconscious, but just because they are hidden doesn't mean they disappear. They are still there, influencing our thoughts, feelings, and actions. Spirituality takes this idea further. It sees shadow work as a sacred path to wholeness and true self-acceptance. Shadow work, in its essence, is courageous self-exploration. It asks you to be brave, it asks you to look at what you've denied. Think of it like cleaning out a cluttered closet. At first it might seem overwhelming. You might find things you'd forgotten about or things you'd rather not see. But as you sort through it, you create space. You find clarity. You might even rediscover forgotten treasures. This process isn't about judgment, it's about compassion, curiosity, and the deep desire to be fully you. It's a loving act of self-reclamation. Many spiritual paths emphasize the importance of knowing oneself fully. Shadow work aligns perfectly with this. It's a way to remove the masks we wear. It helps us to live more authentically. When we ignore our shadow, we are only living with half of ourselves. We are denying our own complexity and richness. By turning towards the shadow, we begin a profound journey of integration. We learn to embrace every facet of our being. This is where true healing and personal growth begin. It's about becoming more whole, more real, and more free. So, what exactly is this shadow self? Imagine you have a bright, shiny persona you show to the world. This is the part of you that is acceptable, liked, and approved of. The shadow self is everything else. It's made up of the traits and impulses we've disowned. These are often aspects we were taught were negative. Maybe it's anger, jealousy, fear, or even creativity if it wasn't nurtured. The shadow self isn't inherently evil or bad. It's simply the unknown or rejected part of you. It's the other half that makes you complete. Now you might be wondering, does everyone have a shadow self? The answer is a resounding yes. Every single person, without exception, has a shadow. It's a natural part of being human. It starts forming in early childhood. As we grow, we learn what behaviors get us love and approval. We also learn what gets us disapproval or punishment. We start to hide the parts that don't fit the good image. This isn't a conscious, malicious act. It's a survival mechanism. We all do it. So having a shadow doesn't make you flawed, it makes you human. Think of your shadow self not as an enemy, but as a hidden part of your own story. It holds qualities that you might actually need. For example, if you suppressed your assertiveness because it was labeled bossy, your shadow might hold your power. If you hid your vulnerability for fear of being hurt, your shadow might hold your capacity for deep connection. The shadow contains raw energy, untapped potential, and sometimes our greatest strengths disguised as weaknesses. It's a rich, fertile ground waiting for your attention and understanding. The universality of the shadow self means you are not alone in this experience. We are all walking around with these hidden aspects. The difference lies in how aware we are of them, and how we choose to relate to them. Some people spend their lives running from their shadow. Others bravely turn to face it. Recognizing that everyone has a shadow can bring a sense of shared humanity. It can foster compassion for ourselves and for others. It reminds us that we are all complex beings, a mixture of light and dark, known and unknown. What happens when we ignore this shadow self? When we pretend it doesn't exist? Well, an unattended shadow doesn't just quietly disappear. It tends to make its presence known in unexpected and often disruptive ways. It can act like an unseen saboteur in your life. Imagine trying to steer a ship while someone else is secretly turning the rudder in the opposite direction. That's what an unacknowledged shadow can do. It can undermine your best intentions and create patterns that leave you feeling stuck or confused. It seeks expression, whether you want it to or not. One common way an ignored shadow affects us is through projection. This is when we see our own disowned traits in other people. If you strongly dislike a certain quality in someone else, it might be a reflection of something unacknowledged in your own shadow. For example, if you've suppressed your own anger, you might find yourself constantly irritated by angry people. You judge them harshly for the very thing you haven't faced in yourself. This not only damages relationships but also keeps you from understanding your own feelings. It creates a distorted view of the world around you. An unattended shadow can also lead to self-sabotage. You might find yourself repeating the same mistakes in relationships or career choices. You might procrastinate on important goals or engage in behaviors that go against your well-being. This isn't because you're inherently flawed or weak. It's often the shadow self, full of unmet needs and unexpressed emotions trying to get your attention. It might manifest as addictions, chronic anxiety, or unexplainable bouts of sadness. These are signals, cries for help from the parts of you that feel neglected and unseen. Furthermore, living with a dominant, unacknowledged shadow can drain your energy. It takes a lot of effort to keep parts of yourself suppressed. This constant internal battle can lead to fatigue, a lack of vitality, and a feeling of being disconnected from your true self. You might feel like you're wearing a heavy costume all the time, trying to be someone you're not. This can lead to a sense of emptiness or a feeling that something is missing. The cost of neglect is a life lived less fully, less authentically, and with less joy. The shadow wants to be integrated, not ignored. How do you know if your shadow is calling for attention? There are often clear signs, whispers from within, that suggest it's time for shadow work. One of the most common indicators is experiencing intense emotional reactions to others. If someone's behavior triggers an overwhelmingly strong negative response in you, far beyond what the situation seems to warrant, your shadow might be involved. That person could be mirroring a disowned part of yourself, something you've judged harshly within. Pay attention to these powerful emotional charges. They are often signposts pointing directly to your shadow. Another significant sign is noticing recurring negative patterns in your life. Do you find yourself in similar unhealthy relationships time and again? Do you repeatedly sabotage your success just when things are going well? These patterns are often driven by unconscious beliefs and emotions residing in your shadow. Perhaps a fear of abandonment, a feeling of unworthiness, or suppressed anger is secretly running the show. If you feel like you're stuck in a loop, unable to break free despite your best efforts, it's a strong indication that your shadow self needs to be explored and understood. Feeling a persistent sense of being stuck, unfulfilled, or disconnected can also be a call for shadow work. You might have achieved external success, yet an inner emptiness remains. This often happens when we live too much in our persona, our acceptable self, while neglecting the deeper, more complex parts of our being. A lack of passion, chronic boredom, or a feeling that you're not living your true purpose can all be symptoms of a shadow yearning for integration. It's as if a vital part of your life force is locked away, waiting to be reclaimed. Finally, pervasive self-criticism and low self-esteem are strong indicators. If you constantly judge yourself, feel inadequate, or struggle with feelings of shame, your shadow is likely at play. These negative self-perceptions often stem from internalizing criticism from the past and disowning the parts of yourself that were deemed unacceptable. The shadow holds these painful beliefs. Engaging in shadow work can help you uncover the roots of this self-rejection and begin the journey towards self-compassion and acceptance. It's about learning to love all of you, not just the good parts. The door is open. Shadow work for everyone. A beautiful truth about shadow work is its inclusivity. Anyone can perform shadow work. There are no special qualifications, no elite club you need to join. If you have a desire to understand yourself more deeply, to heal and to grow, then shadow work is available to you. It is a profoundly personal journey, unique to each individual. Whether you are just beginning your spiritual path or have been on it for many years, the exploration of your shadow can offer profound insights and transformation. The only real prerequisite is courage and a willingness to be honest with yourself. This work is accessible because it meets you where you are. You don't need to be a spiritual guru or a psychological expert. The process often begins with simple curiosity. It starts with asking questions like, why do I react so strongly to this? Or what am I afraid to look at within myself? The tools and techniques for shadow work can be adapted to suit your comfort level and your life circumstances. It's not about forcing yourself into uncomfortable places unprepared. It's about gently, and at your own pace, opening the door to the less familiar parts of your psyche. However, while anyone do shadow work, it's important to approach it with respect, and self-compassion. Sometimes, the things we uncover in our shadow can be painful or challenging. If you have experienced significant trauma, it can be very beneficial and sometimes necessary to undertake shadow work with the support of a qualified therapist or counselor. They can provide a safe space and guidance as you navigate more difficult emotions and memories. For many, a combination of self-guided practices and professional support offers the most balanced and effective approach. Ultimately, readiness is key. You will know when it's the right time for you to begin. There might be a gentle nudge from within, or perhaps life circumstances will push you towards this deeper exploration. Trust your intuition. Shadow work is not a race or a competition. It's a personal pilgrimage into the heart of who you are. The invitation is always there. The door to your inner world is waiting to be opened by you when you feel prepared to step across the threshold into a more complete and authentic version of yourself. Tools for illumination. Practices to uncover your shadow. There are many paths to exploring your shadow, many tools you can use to bring light to those hidden parts. One of the most accessible and powerful practices is journaling. Writing down your thoughts and feelings without censorship can reveal surprising insights. You can specifically journal about your triggers, your dreams, or your reactions to people who challenge you. Ask yourself, what part of me is this situation reflecting? Let your pen flow freely. This private space allows for honest reflection, helping you to identify patterns and disowned aspects of yourself. It's like having a conversation with your own soul. Meditation and mindfulness are also invaluable tools. Through quiet contemplation, you can become more aware of the thoughts and emotions that arise within you, without immediately acting on them or judging them. Mindfulness teaches you to observe your inner landscape with curiosity and compassion. You might notice recurring uncomfortable feelings or critical self-talk. These are often clues from your shadow. Guided meditation specifically designed for shadow work can also help you to safely explore these deeper layers of your consciousness. They can create a space for dialogue with your shadow parts. Engaging with a therapist or a trusted spiritual mentor can provide crucial support and guidance. A trained professional can help you navigate the complexities of your shadow, especially if you encounter difficult emotions or past traumas. They can offer objective perspectives, ask insightful questions, and help you integrate what you discover. Art therapy, dream analysis, and even working with archetypes are other creative and effective ways to connect with your unconscious mind and the messages held within your shadow. These methods bypass the logical mind and tap into deeper symbolic wisdom. Remember, the goal of these practices is not to fix or eliminate your shadow. It's to understand it, to learn from it, and to integrate its wisdom and energy into your conscious life. You might try different techniques to see what resonates most with you. Some people find movement or dance helpful for releasing stored emotions. Others connect deeply through storytelling or engaging with myths. The key is to find practices that feel authentic and supportive for your unique journey of self-discovery. Be patient with yourself as you explore these illuminating paths. The buried treasure benefits of embracing your shadow. Why would anyone willingly delve into the darker corners of their psyche? The answer is simple, because that's where the gold is buried. Embracing your shadow through dedicated work offers profound benefits and transformational potential. One of the greatest gifts is increased self-acceptance and authenticity. When you stop denying parts of yourself, you become more whole. You no longer need to expend energy maintaining a false front. You can be more genuinely you, with all your complexities and imperfections. This authenticity is incredibly liberating and attractive. Shadow work also leads to improved relationships. When you understand your own projections and triggers, you're less likely to unfairly blame or judge others. You can see people more clearly for who they are, rather than through the filter of your disowned parts. This fosters greater empathy, compassion, and healthier communication. Imagine being able to navigate disagreements with more understanding because you recognize your own shadow playing out. Your connections become deeper and more meaningful because they are based on honesty, both with yourself and with others. Another significant benefit is the reclaiming of your personal power and vitality. Your shadow often holds suppressed energy, talents, and strengths. Perhaps you hid your assertiveness, your creativity, or your passion. By bringing these aspects into the light, you unlock new reserves of energy and potential. You might discover hidden gifts or find the courage to pursue long-held dreams. Instead of feeling drained by internal conflict, you feel more alive, more vibrant, and more capable of creating the life you desire. The energy once used for suppression is now available for creation. Ultimately, shadow work is a path to profound healing and spiritual growth. It helps you to heal old wounds, release limiting beliefs, and break free from destructive patterns. It allows you to integrate all aspects of your being, leading to a greater sense of inner peace and wholeness. You become less reactive and more responsive to life's challenges. You develop a deeper understanding of yourself and the human condition. This journey of embracing your shadow is not always easy, but the rewards, a more authentic, compassionate, and empowered life, are immeasurable. It's the journey to becoming truly whole. A journey, not a race, the healing timeline of shadow work. Many people wonder how long shadow work takes. Is there a set timeline for healing? The truth is, shadow work is a deeply personal journey, and its timeline is as unique as you are. It's not a quick fix or a weekend workshop that magically resolves everything. Think of it more like peeling an onion, layer by layer, or perhaps tending a garden. It requires ongoing care and attention. Some insights might come quickly, bringing immediate relief or clarity. Other deeper patterns may take more time and patience to understand and integrate. The healing process is not linear. You might experience periods of rapid growth and then times when it feels like nothing much is happening. There might be moments when old patterns resurface, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you failed or gone backward. It's often just the shadow bringing something to your attention that needs further healing or understanding. The key is to approach the process with compassion and without rigid expectations about how long it should take. Every step, every insight, no matter how small, is progress on your path to wholeness. Can everyone heal through shadow work? The potential for healing is there for everyone who is willing to engage with the process honestly and courageously. However, healing itself can mean different things to different people. For some, it might mean resolving specific traumas. For others, it might be about achieving greater self-acceptance or breaking free from limiting beliefs. The depth of healing often corresponds to the depth of commitment to the work. Consistent effort, self-reflection, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths are crucial ingredients for transformation. It's also important to remember that healing is not about becoming perfect or eradicating the shadow entirely. It's about integration. It's about learning to live more consciously with all parts of yourself. Some wounds may leave scars, but these scars can become sources of wisdom and strength. The timeline is less important than the commitment to the journey itself. Celebrate your progress, be kind to yourself during challenging times, and trust that every effort you make to understand your shadow brings you closer to a more authentic and integrated life. This is your journey, at your pace. The lifelong companion, living with your integrated shadow. A common question is, will the shadow self always be present? Yes, it will. The shadow is an intrinsic part of the human psyche, a natural consequence of living and learning in a complex world. It's not something to be vanquished or permanently eliminated. Instead, the goal of shadow work is to transform your relationship with it. You learn to bring its contents into the light of your awareness, to understand its messages and to integrate its energy in healthy and constructive ways. Your shadow becomes less of a hidden saboteur and more of an understood companion. Living with an integrated shadow means you are more aware of your triggers, your projections, and your unconscious patterns. It doesn't mean you'll never get triggered or never make mistakes, but when you do, you'll have the tools and the self-awareness to recognize what's happening. You can catch yourself more quickly when you project onto others. You can understand the deeper needs or fears that might be driving your reactions. This awareness allows you to respond more consciously rather than react blindly. It's a continuous dance of self-discovery and integration. The ongoing nature of shadow work means it's a lifelong practice, not a destination you arrive at once and for all. As you grow and evolve, new layers of your shadow may emerge, presenting new opportunities for understanding and integration. Life will continue to present challenges and experiences that can illuminate previously hidden aspects of yourself. This isn't a cause for discouragement, but rather an invitation to continuous growth and deepening self-knowledge. Each layer uncovered brings more freedom, more authenticity, and more compassion. Embracing this lifelong dance with your shadow is ultimately about embracing your full humanity. It's about recognizing that wholeness includes both light and dark, strength and vulnerability, joy and pain. Your shadow, once feared or denied, can become a source of profound wisdom, creativity, and resilience. By continuing to courageously and compassionately engage with this essential part of yourself, you cultivate a life of greater depth, meaning, and true self-acceptance. Your shadow self, understood and integrated, helps you become the most complete and authentic version of you. Like and subscribe to the Energy is All channel for more. Thank you for watching Internal Voyagers.